Ačiū labai.
Thank you very much. It is the first time that I'm speaking to such a big audience. I'm a little bit afraid, but I will do my best to share all the information with you. Shall I speak Lithuanian or English?
I'm going to speak in Lithuanian. They won. Well, what I'm going to say, everybody knows already. Visos kolegos žino how to grow the wheatgrass. Čia visi tie, kurie yra iš instituto, jau tikrai žino.
Those of you who come from the Institute know very well how to grow your own greens, but it is very, very important for me to share this information with you. I really do want you to be able to do that on your own. We're here as of the 4th of September, and actually I feel that I lack the greens. And autumn is here already. You have a lot of green foods around. But I do imagine that in winter time you will be craving for green food. Every one of you can grow your own greens. These sunflower seeds were sown on Tuesday, last Tuesday. It takes 10 days for the greens of sunflower seeds to grow. You heard Steve Marwitz talking about the benefits of all the greens and sprouts. And all the sprouts are extremely beneficial for all of us. Buckwheat, peas, every single plant can provide you with a lot of benefit, and they are very easy to grow, your own greens. This is the DVD developed by me several years ago, and this DVD tells you exactly how to start growing your own greens. What should be the first step, what should be the last step, and how to prepare all this food for consumption. Anne Wigmore continued doing one very important thing, and it is mentioned there too. I visited her institute in Boston, and that was a building in the middle of the city. And in that building, she was growing enough greens, buckwheat, sunflower, and other types of greens for 40 people every week. You could certainly grow your own greens for your everyday consumption. You could use sunflower greens or any other greens. We are here to celebrate Anne Wigmore's achievements. This is the basis of her program. Here you see sunflower seeds, sunflower sprouts, and sunflower grass. Here you see buckwheat, peas, and the greens. Here you see the whole life of Anne Wigmore, the whole lifestyle of Anne Wigmore. Her full program was based on the greens, on buckwheat sprouts, on pea sprouts, on energy soup. Back in 1991, I went to Boston. It was the first time that I met Anne Wigmore then, and I told her I'm a Lithuanian. She looked at me, but she couldn't speak Lithuanian anymore. Her life was really difficult, and she didn't manage to keep her Lithuanian spirit, but her main food while working at the Institute was the energy soup. You heard many times many people mentioning the energy soup. When I came to her Institute, we got up in the morning and I was waiting for the energy soup to come. I asked, what will we get for breakfast? Energy soup. What will we get for lunch? Energy soup. What will we get for dinner? Energy soup. And we actually would get that same energy soup 3 times per day, every day. day in, day out. And you know, it is not tasty at all. But in 3 days, I started feeling rather different. I had much more energy. My thoughts started changing. My energy started changing. The people who were there together with me were rather different. I was very healthy, but my mother-in-law had rheumatoid arthritis. I read the book by Anne Wigmore, and I know that she had gangrene in both of her legs. And I thought, if you can heal from gangrene, although it always ends up in amputation, then certainly you can get healed or cured from arthritis. That is how I decided to go to the institute in Boston. Some 4 to 6 days later, or after some 4 to 6 days in the Boston Institute, I saw people with cancer and a number of other degenerative diseases changing. They started getting rid of their pains. Pain occurs when we have acid environment in our body. If you have pain, please think of what you had to eat. If the food is acid, then the pain comes. If you can replace your acid foods with alkaline foods, you will get rid of the pains. All the sprouts, all the living foods, they are alkaline foods. Coffee is an acid food or drink. Greens are alkaline. Certainly I could have a cup of coffee or a shot of vodka, but it's better to have a shot of wheatgrass juice. The problem is that you have to neutralize the acid environment in your body, but in order to get rid of 1 unit of acid, you have to take 20 units of alkaline juice. If you decide to continue drinking beer, wine, and vodka, you will continue providing your body with the acid environment. But if you decide to drink wheatgrass juice, you will change the environment for the better. But please don't take too much of the juice. First of all, you have to take the wheatgrass juice in very small amounts. You should take that small amount into your mouth and keep it in your mouth. My gums were damaged badly when I started using wheatgrass juice. But the wheatgrass juice helped me get rid of the ulcers in my mouth. And the fact that we are keeping the juice in the mouth helps us digest the alkaline food. So we start digesting our alkaline food in our mouth, and there is a lot of acidity in the stomach. Sometimes I even keep the juice in my mouth for 10 minutes. Now we'd like to speak about the power of the little seed. What happens when you place 80 pounds on 3 trays of sunflower sprouts? I will show you a very short video soon. Here you see 80 pounds of weight here. People lift those weights, and that's a very interesting thing to see. During the very first 3 days, you do not put anything on the top, but then you put 80 pounds of weight on top. It took me 10 days to make this video. Can all of you see what is happening? This is day 4. You saw that on day 4 the weights fell down, and on day 5 you witnessed this huge growth. Imagine how the power of these sprouts could benefit your body. If the sprouts can lift and push away 80 pounds, then imagine the power of those sprouts to your body. Sometimes I would forget to water the sprouts, but the sprouts can be as powerful as to push the weights off. Imagine what happens to your body when you take the wheatgrass juice every day or every morning. Every day we take approximately 160 grams of wheatgrass juice. And I do not need to take any food for 3 to 4 hours after that breakfast. And I have a lot of energy as a result. Every single one of you could drink the juice. Steve Meyerowitz promotes growing of wheatgrass without soil. I promote growing wheatgrass with soil, but it's up to you to decide which of the ways to choose. For me personally, the soil is very important because everything grows on our soil. It is very, very easy to start growing your own greens. All you need to have is some water and some seeds. You keep the seeds in the water from 8 to 12 hours, depending on where you live. And then, after you keep them in water for the 8 to 12 hours, you pour the water off and you leave the seeds in the glass jar. Or you can put the seeds into certain bags. When you put them into the bags or when you keep them in the glass jars, 2 to 3 times per day you have to splash your seeds with water. If your seeds get mold or get rotten, this means that you didn't splash them with water enough times. And please do not be afraid to shake them and to change the water several times. If you keep your seeds in the glass jar, then put the jar on the side for the water to get off the jar completely. If some water stays in the jar, then your seeds get mold. This is why it is very important to keep your jar on the side, lift it on the side, to let all the water escape from the jar. When you put your seeds into the soil, you should pour the soil on top of the seeds. Then you can plant the sprouted seeds in soil. Here you see the planted sprout seeds. These are wheat sprouts, and the seeds are close to one another. It is not like sowing your seeds in a garden. Seeds in the garden are spread far away from one another. In here, there is no space in between separate seeds. When they are close to one another, then they stick to one another and they stay together. It is very important to water the seeds thoroughly. Here you see the way the watering should be done. All the seeds are very, very close to each other. Put one stack oh, sorry, stack one tray on top of the other. Here you see my trays that I have at home. I have approximately 80 to 100 trays per week. All in all, it amounts to 135 pounds. A lot depends on the sun, on the moon, and so on. 1 week you can get 300 grams of grass, the next week you can get 600 grams of grass from the same tray. And I haven't managed to find out why this happens. Everything is important, the moon, the sun, and the rest of the influences, but actually this food provides you with a lot of energy as a result. Every day you have to water your sprouts, and you have to change the place of the trays. The one that was on the top has to be at the bottom, and so on. You have to be very careful when removing the trays in order not to destroy the sprouts. Right behind me you see my greens that I'm growing every week. This video material is taken from my DVD, showing in a very simple way how to grow your greens. With time I reduce the number of trays, and when I sprout sunflower seeds, I do use a lot of waste in order to make the sprouts as strong as possible. If I had more waste to put on top of the trays, I would use them. You can put up to 100 pounds on the trays, especially sunflower seeds. If you forget to water your trays, look what happens next day. Some of the trays get pushed aside. I had cases when I got up in the morning and I saw the trays on the side. I now know that I have to water my sprouts every day and on the same time, or according to the same schedule. 5 days later, I put all the trays one by one. We see that the sprouts or the greens are pushing away the bran, or the shell. And if you do not put the weight on the top, then the shell would become the plant would become very thin, and if you put the weight on top, then it makes it easier for you to cut the grass and to use it. These are sunflowers on the left, buckwheat on the right, wheatgrass down there, and peas or pea sprouts. This is the basis of Anne Wigmore's program. These are the 4 plants that helped a lot of people to regain their health. I want to tell you a story. I am giving classes in America and people are coming to help me. I had one woman coming to me. She didn't have a lot of money and she came to me and asked whether she could help me and learn as a result. When she came to me, she had difficulty walking and she was already blind, and I thought, how can she help me in that status of her health? She cannot even move. That day, my husband was making wheatgrass juice. We He made 90 milliliters and he asked whether somebody would like to try. She said she did want that. And then he asked whether somebody else would like more. And she said, yes, I would like more. She got 180 milliliters. When he asked for the third time whether she would like some more, she said yes. And actually, the wheatgrass juice is not that tasty. If you tried it at least once, you know that you have to get used to it. But once you know how powerful that juice is, you can drink it endlessly. Once she had her juice, 10 minutes later, she started walking around like that. It was a miracle to see the influence right away. She had diabetes, she was blind. When she came back home, she used the diabetes or the insulin pump. She came back home and she said, I have to take my medicine. That's why I went home. And when she came back home and she used the insulin pump, or she measured her blood sugar level, she said, I didn't need to take the medicine because the blood sugar level was okay. And then I told her that maybe she should try 8 ounces of the juice, or 240 milliliters of the juice every day, since it is so helpful. And she agreed to that. She continued taking 240 milliliters of juice a day. And I told you that this woman was blind, and she went to the doctor and asked for help. And the doctor told her that they cannot help her. And she continued taking the juice for 3 to 4 months. And since she was blind, she knew she couldn't hurt her eyes anymore. So she tried to wash her eyes with the wheatgrass juice. And 3 to 4 months later, she went to the eye doctor again, and the doctor couldn't believe her. She started regaining her sight. But the bad thing is that when people start feeling better, they stop doing what they used to do. And that's the biggest mistake that people make. When you start feeling better, when you start getting more energy, you should continue with the treatment for a year or so in order for the body to heal completely. Once you have continued for a year and you see that everything is fine and you already feel much better, then most probably you should continue with that food throughout the rest of your life. So this is what wheatgrass juice can do. Here you see Anne Wigmore. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Viktoras Kulvinskas and Anne Wigmore for developing this program, and they helped a lot. They helped a number of people to regain their health. We went to the funeral of Anne Wigmore, and there was one wonderful thing there. We had approximately 200 people in the church. Coffin was in the middle of the church, and there were wheat grass trays on one side of the coffin and the other side of the coffin. And there were people continuously saying, if not for this woman, I wouldn't be here. If not for this woman, I wouldn't be here. And every single one of us could get cured with the help of this food, of the living food. This food is full of chlorophylls. Steve Meyerowitz told you about the chemical composition of the food, about the things that you should know, because Steve Meyerowitz is the one who has a scientific mind here. I am a practitioner. I'm telling you all what I have to say from my own practice. It would be great if every single one of you could grow a tray or two of wheatgrass. You can also use buckwheat and sunflower and peas. not only wheat. And those greens would provide you with a lot of energy. They would help you to detoxify your body and would provide you with a lot of nutrients and would help you to get better and healthier. Thank you very much for listening.